Hi, it's Mark Donegan. Most copywriters stare at a blank page for hours. Turns out, the fastest sales letter you'll ever write starts by leading with your offer. No clever buildup, no mystery. Just the deal, front and center. This episode breaks down the offer lead framework from Great Leads and how AI accelerates the whole process. After 2 decades building go-to-market engines, I've watched this approach win across B2B and direct response. Now, here's how the conversation unfolded.
Tune in, listen up, it's marketing time. Bright ideas sparking, blowing your mind. From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Mark, I've been sitting with this idea all week, and I genuinely can't stop thinking about it. You know how we always talk about the hard stuff, the complex funnels, the sophisticated attribution models, but what if the easiest path to better copy is actually the one founders ignore because it feels too simple?
Okay, you've got my attention. What are we talking about here?
I came across this framework called the offer lead, and it's from this classic copywriting book called Great Leads. And the whole premise is just lead with your offer, like right up front.
Love this already because it goes against everything most founders think they should do. Everyone wants to be clever. Everyone wants the viral hook.
Right? But here's the thing that really hit me. This approach is specifically designed for what they call the most aware customer. And I think that's where founders mess up. They're writing copy for people who don't even know you yet, when they should be writing different copy for different awareness level.
This is huge. And honestly, on a Marketing Execution Podcast, we don't talk about this enough. Let me break this down because there are like 3 critical pieces here that founders need to understand.
Yeah, walk me through it.
Okay, so first, the offer lead only works when someone already knows who you are and what you sell. These are people who've been on your email list, they've seen your ads before, they maybe even visited your pricing page. They don't need to be convinced that the problem exists. They don't need education. They just need a reason to act now.
So you're basically cutting through all the noise and saying, here's a deal, take it or leave it.
Exactly. And there's this beautiful example from the framework. The headline was something like, guaranteed to improve your child's school marks or you pay nothing. And then the subheadline immediately names the product, the fabulous new teaching machine. There's no mystery, there's no wait for it. You know in 2 seconds that someone's selling you something and there's a guarantee attached.
Okay, but doesn't that feel a little aggressive? Like, isn't there value in warming people up first?
Here's the secret that most people miss. When you're talking to aware customers, being direct is actually more respectful of their time. These people have already done the research. They've already decided they want something like what you're offering. Making them wade through 5 paragraphs of story before getting to the point, that's annoying. That's friction.
I never thought about it as a respect thing.
It totally is. And this brings me to the second critical piece, the emotional anchor. Even though you're leading with the offer, you're not just listing features and prices, you're leading with the most emotionally compelling detail of that offer.
Give me an example of what that looks like.
So there was this founder I heard about who was selling a productivity app. And instead of leading with 3 months for 99 cents, which is fine, they led with finally stop losing 3 hours every day to email chaos. And then they mentioned the deal. The emotional hook comes first, but is still direct. It's still an offer lead. You see the difference?
Yeah. So you're not burying the offer, you're just framing it emotionally first.
Bingo. And the third piece, this is the one that separates good copy from great copy, is the reason why. You have to give people a compelling reason why you're offering this deal.
Why does that matter so much?
Because without a reason why, people get suspicious. If something seems too good to be true, our brains immediately start looking for the catch. But if you say something like, we're offering this because we just hit 10,000 customers and we want to celebrate, or we're clearing out inventory before our new version launches, suddenly it makes sense. The skepticism dissolves.
That's actually really clever. You're preempting the objection before it even formed.
And here's what's wild. I saw a recent study, I think it was from early 2024, that showed adding a reason why to promotional copy increased conversion rates by over 30% in some cases. People just need that logical justification to feel okay about taking action.
Okay, so let me make sure I've got this. For aware customers, you lead with the offer, you anchor it emotionally, and you give a reason why. That's the formula.
That's the core of it. And the beautiful thing is this works across formats. Sales letters, Facebook ads, YouTube scripts. The structure stays the same. You're just adjusting the length and the specific language for the platform.
What about founders who are like, but my product is complicated, I can't just lead with an offer?
I hear this all the time. And look, if your audience isn't aware yet, then yeah, you need a different approach. But that's the whole point. You should be segmenting your messaging. Your retargeting ads to website visitors, offer lead. Your cold traffic ads to people who've never heard of you, different strategy entirely.
So it's not that offer leads are better or worse, it's that they're the right tool for a specific job.
Yes, and most founders are using the wrong tool because they're not thinking about awareness levels at all. They write one piece of copy and blast it everywhere, hoping it works for everyone. That's like using a hammer for every single home repair project.
Sometimes you need a screwdriver.
Yes, and sometimes you just need to just tell people what you're selling and make them a great deal.
Mark, that's fascinating. Let's pivot for a second and talk about what this means for a founder with zero budget who can't afford to run multiple ad variations.
You know what, Tim? That's actually where this whole framework becomes a lifeline instead of just another tactic. Because when you can't afford to test 10 different ad variations, you need to get it right the first time. And the offer lead gives you the highest probability of success with aware audiences.
Okay, but walk me through the logic there. Why is it safer for bootstrap founders?
So think about it this way. Every other type of lead, whether you're telling a story or building curiosity or whatever, requires you to make assumptions about what's going to hook someone emotionally. You're guessing. But with an offer lead, you already know what your offer is. You know your price, you know your guarantee. The variables are way smaller.
So you're reducing the creative risk.
Exactly. And here's the aha moment that I think founders miss entirely. The offer lead isn't just a copywriting technique. It's a forcing function for business clarity.
Wait, say more about that.
Okay, so when you sit down to write an offer lead, you have to answer some really hard questions. What's my actual offer? Is it compelling enough to lead with? Do I have a guarantee that removes risk? What's my reason why? And if you can't answer those questions clearly, that's not a copywriting problem. That's a business model problem.
Man, that hits different.
I've seen founders spend weeks agonizing over their ad copy when the real issue was that their offer was weak. No amount of clever words fixes a mediocre deal. But when you force yourself to lead with the offer, you can't hide behind fancy language anymore. The truth comes out.
So it's almost like a diagnostic tool.
Yes. And look, I know of a company that was burning through their ad budget with these elaborate story-driven campaigns. Fancy production, emotional narratives, the whole thing. Conversions were terrible. When they stripped it all back and just led with their offer, two things happened. First, conversions went up. But second, and this is the important part, they realized their offer actually needed work. The directness exposed the weakness.
So they fixed the business, not just the copy.
They added a stronger guarantee, they adjusted their pricing, they created a better reason why, and then when they went back to more sophisticated campaigns later, everything performed better because the foundation was solid.
I'll see what you mean. It's like you're stress testing your value proposition.
And when you use AI to help write these offer leads, you can generate variations in minutes. The prompts are straightforward because you're not asking the AI to be creative in some abstract way. You're saying, here's my product, here's my customer, here's my offer, here's my guarantee, write me an offer lead.
So the inputs are concrete.
Super concrete. And that means the outputs are more reliable. You're not getting those weird AI hallucinations where it goes off on some tangent. The structure keeps it focused.
Okay, but let me push back a little bit. What about founders who feel like being this direct is somehow beneath them, like it's too salesy or too aggressive?
Tim, this is the mindset trap that kills so many early stage companies. There's this weird shame around selling, like admitting you want someone's money is somehow dirty. But here's the reality. If you have something valuable, if your product actually helps people, then not being direct is doing them a disservice.
You're hiding the solution from the people who need it.
Yes, and the most aware customers, they're actively looking for solutions. They want you to be clear. They want you to say, here's what I've got, here's the deal, here's why you should trust me. Making them hunt for that information doesn't make you sophisticated, it makes you confusing.
Confusing is not a brand strategy.
No, it is not. And look, this connects to something bigger about how we think about marketing in general. The best marketing respects the customer's intelligence and their time. Offer leads do both.
So we've covered why this matters strategically, why it works for bootstrap founders, and why the mindset shift is important. I'm curious now about how someone actually puts this into practice. Like, what does the workflow look like when you sit down to write one of these?
Okay, so the workflow is stupidly simple. That's the beauty of it. You need 4 things before you even open your AI tool. 4 things: your product's name, your customer description, your offer, and your guarantee. You write each one in plain language, no jargon, no marketing speak, just clear sentences.
Wait, can you give me an example of what that looks like?
Sure. Let's say you're selling a SaaS tool for project management. Your product is TeamFlow. Your customer is remote marketing teams who struggle with deadline tracking. Your offer is 14 days free plus 50% off the first 3 months. Your guarantee is cancel anytime, no questions asked.
Okay, I could see that. Super concrete.
Now you go to your AI and you don't ask it to be creative. You give it a very specific prompt. You say, write me an offer lead for this product, this customer, this offer, this guarantee. Make the headline focus on the most emotional benefit of the deal.
So the AI has guardrails from the start.
Exactly. And this is where founders mess up. They go to ChatGPT and say, write me ad copy. That's way too vague. The AI doesn't know what kind of lead you want. It doesn't know your awareness level, it just guesses.
And then you get that generic marketing fluff.
The worst. But when you specify offer lead, you're telling the AI to put the offer front and center. No mystery, no slow build, just here's what you get and here's why it's a great deal.
Okay, so what comes after the headline?
Now, step 2 is the lead paragraph, about 200 words max. And this is where you include your reason why. This is critical and most people skip it.
Reason why, meaning why you're offering this deal.
Yes, think about Dropbox when they first launched. They didn't just say free storage. They said, we're giving you 2 gigs free because we want you to experience how seamless file sharing can be. The reason why adds credibility. It answers the skeptic's question of, what's the catch?
That makes sense. Otherwise, it feels too good to be true.
Right. So your reason why could be, we just hit 10,000 users and we're celebrating, or we're launching a new feature and want feedback, or we overbuilt capacity and have room to spare. It humanizes the offer.
I like that. It's not manipulation, it's just context.
And here's the third piece. Once you have your sales letter draft, you can adapt it. Same core offer lead becomes a Facebook ad in 3 variations. Same offer lead becomes a YouTube script. The structure stays identical, only the format changes.
You're not starting from scratch each time, right?
This is how Notion scaled their early marketing. They had one clear offer, free for personal use, pay when your team grows. That same message showed up everywhere, landing pages, ads, emails. The consistency built trust.
And the AI can generate those variations fast.
In minutes, you just say, take this offer lead and reformat it for a 60-second YouTube ad, or give me 3 emotional variations for Facebook. The AI does the heavy lifting because you already gave it the right foundation.
This is really practical. So to make sure I've got this right, someone listening should walk away with a clear workflow. They prep their 4 inputs, they prompt the AI with specific instructions for an offer lead, they add a reason why, and then they adapt across channels.
That's the whole system. Simple but powerful.
Okay, Mark, we've covered a lot of ground across this whole conversation. Can you bring it all together for us and summarize the key points someone should remember?
All right, let me pull this together. We started with a simple but powerful idea. When you're talking to customers who already know you, stop being clever and just lead with your offer. That's the offer lead framework. It works because aware customers don't need education, they need a reason to act now. We talked about the 3 ingredients. You anchor the offer emotionally, you state it clearly, and you give a reason why. That reason why builds trust and dissolves skepticism. Then we got into why this matters for bootstrap founders. The offer lead reduces creative risk because the inputs are concrete, and it doubles as a diagnostic tool. If you can't write a compelling offer lead, your offer probably needs work.
Bark, after everything we've discussed today, what's the one thing you really hope people don't forget?
Clarity is kindness. Every time you hide your offer behind clever hooks or mysterious copy, you're making it harder for the people who need your solution to find it. The most generous thing you can do as a founder is tell people exactly what you've got and exactly why it matters. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.